Unafika hapo bila kutoka hapa.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So if you could speak directly to a listener who is struggling with gambling and addiction, what would you want them to hear?
Just like I said, all hope is not lost. Now, if you feel like your value imeshuka just because you're struggling with something, just remember you're a full human being who deserves everything good in life, and there is help.
Our last guest was a musician. His name was Kanye.
Yeah.
And Kanye left this question for you.
Yeah. So Kanye asked, who is your true self and how did you realize it?
Where do you feel like so authentic?
Where I feel
you with yourself, with your brother, with
my
your
true
father.
self. I can be all of them, just like in different ways. But I would say, the reason I'm finding that hard to answer is because in psychology, this thing we call our real self and our ideal self. Yeah, the real self is the person I am right now, with all my shortcomings and with all my screen time addiction. But my ideal self, it's somebody different. My ideal self is that Nyambu who is very learned, Nyambu who has her shit together, Nyambu who has her finances right, her spirituality right.
I warmly invite you to subscribe to our YouTube podcast, Modern Day Campfire, where we advocate for mental health through a powerful lens of visual arts and meaningful conversation. This platform is a safe space for reflection, expression, and healing. Created with care and authenticity, your support not only spreads the awareness, but also strengthens a growing community that values compassion, creativity, and open dialogue. Join us today in this journey. You are welcome here. Thank you.
Faith Nyambura. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So by any chance, maybe you were to interact with a baby, a kid, and they ask who is Faith Nyambura, what will you tell them?
Nitamwambia, hey tata, mi naitwa Faith Nyambura. I am a psychologist, a licensed psychologist, and also an executive committee member at Kenya Psychological Association. Sijui kama mtoto ataelewa hizo, but yeah, that's what I do. I deal with issues mental health, and that's what I love and passionate about. Yeah. Tamwambia tuandike mahali alafu ata Google akiwa old. Yeah.
And to our audience, what can you promise them by the end of this conversation?
Yeah, I hope by the end of this conversation we learn more about gambling, na gambling addiction, why numbers inaendelea ku rise the way they are, na is there anything we can do about it? Is there help available? Yes, and also what are the myths and misconceptions about gambling? What's the difference between enabling someone and supporting them? Yeah.
Enabling someone and supporting them. I'm afraid I might forget that question. Can you just expound on that?
Okay. Supporting someone. Let me start first by saying they all come from a good place. Like unaona mtu ana struggle, you want to help them. But kuna vile unaweza saidia mtu ninaendelea ku make situation yake worse. For example, an example of enabling ni somebody has put themselves in debt and then you decide to clear the debt. Na mambo usirudie, nitakulipia this time, but usirudie tena. Or somebody has gambled out their rent and then uko na kulipia rent mara ya kwanza, but sitaki kuona ukigamble tena. That's enabling.
Enabling them.
Yeah.
Meaning they will
meaning you're offering like a soft cushion so they don't feel the consequences of gambling. So inawasaidia waendelee kugamble. Yeah, so wewe kwa kunakuja na good intention but you don't know you're making their situation worse because they know hata nikigamble kitu kuna mtu atakuja. Yeah, so supporting is not saving them from consequences, is helping them get support enye ni sustainable. Yeah, maybe getting them treatment, and also if not treatment, letting them face consequences so that that's supporting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you are not pursuing counseling, like what else would you be doing? You're a counseling psychologist.
I'm a psychologist.
You're a psychologist.
Yes.
The difference between a counseling psychologist and a psychologist is?
There's not such a big difference, but counseling psychology, the way it's described, but in Kenya, there's really not much of a difference. There's no one better than the other. But counseling psychologists, generally, they work more on talk therapy. Talk therapy ni ile unakaa chini, mnaongea chini, you discuss your issues, and they focus more on giving you solutions to your current problems, maybe coping skills, such things. Psychologists, on the other hand, we can specialize in other areas. Maybe I can do research, etc. But I can also do talk therapy. Yeah, there's really not much big of a difference here.
And holistic therapy. What is like holistic therapy?
I think both of them can be holistic therapy. Holistic therapy just means you incorporate everything to make the experience more helpful to the person. Maybe you can include talk therapy, art therapy. Yeah, you're taking care of the person holistically, physically. You can decide to go for a walk.
Okay.
Help them maybe and like encourage them maybe to apply for more jobs so that they can get work, whatever.
Or it affects all areas of our life.
Yeah, which is the therapy basically. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like different names to describe the same thing.
So if you are not doing psychology, what will you be doing instead?
That's a good question. When I was younger, I used to say I wanted to be a lawyer because I liked arguing a lot. Yeah. But then I grew up and I learned that lawyers just don't argue. Yeah. Right now that I've been in the field for some time, I found a lot of passion in teaching, educating. So I'm hoping, I'm manifesting to be maybe a professor. I want to be a teacher of some sort in the future. Yeah.
And what is this one quote or saying you find yourself repeating to every client?
One quote I love saying is, feelings are not facts. And that's not invalidating. It's not, the point is not to invalidate. The point is to remind us that our feelings don't always reflect reality. Yeah. What that means is that your feelings might be very valid, but just because you feel like everybody hates you does not mean everybody hates you. Just because you feel like you're a failure does not mean you're a failure. Just because you think that Kikuyus are thieves does not mean they are. Just because you think Luos are, what do people say? Proud does not mean they all are. Yeah, so feelings are not facts. Feelings are very subjective. They're not objective. So it's always good to remember before we make any decisions that we should not make them just based on what we are feeling. Feelings are important, but they're not the absolute truth and they're not objective. Yes.
Like, where is that? Did you experience something or encounter something that now you can like evidently say, believe in that?
Yeah.
Are not facts. Okay.
Yeah, because when I was younger, not even younger, not very long ago, I used to feel like I was very shy, that I could not speak in front of people, that I was not able to pass a message to anyone. But that's how I used to feel, and it used to affect my performance. Even when I would go to a job interview, I would be asked, "What's your name?" And all of a sudden, I don't even have my voice is gone.
Okay.
My hands are shaking just because I've fed myself that thought. And even when I got a job, every time during performance review, everyone would say, "I am too shy. I am too shy." But then, right now, you can put me in a group of 1,000 people, and I will yap. I will yap until you take the mic away from me. So just because I used to feel a certain way doesn't mean that I am that way. Yeah.
And you consider yourself as a lucky person?
Lucky?
Yeah.
Right now, no.
Okay. Why?
I used to feel very lucky, but right now, I don't know. I'm just feeling like life is just hard. I know it's hard on anyone, but I don't know. I think when I left school and came into the world, I just realized how hard things are and how different people are, and now so many things are happening in the country, and I think I'm just preoccupied with what has been going on. I think yesterday watching the BBC documentary and stuff, just seeing what's happening to the Gen Zs as a Gen Z, seeing what's happening to women as a woman, seeing what's happening to the youth in this country as a youth. I just feel like we are in a very unlucky group right now. Yeah, but generally I wouldn't say I'm unlucky, but just right now I don't feel very lucky.
You have some reasons to complain.
I have a few reasons to complain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today we are going to talk about gambling, which is leading to suicide.
Yeah.
And can you just start by making us understand what gambling is and what suicide is to you?
Okay. So gambling, first of all, I don't know, maybe in psychology we have this book called the DSM, Diagnostic Statistical Manual. That's the book that holds all the disorders in the entire world and the criteria to diagnose them. So hapo hivyo inaitwa gambling disorder, and it's, to put it in simple terms, it's a persistent and problematic gambling pattern that leads to distress. Yeah, and you keep doing it despite negative consequences. That makes sense? Yeah. Like first of all ni persistent ama recurrent. Yeah, wacha tutaongelea myths kidogo, si ndio? So si ile kitu ulifanya once na ikaisha, hiyo si gambling addiction. Ni ile yenye you keep doing it na symptoms zake ni hiyo moja, like you keep doing it. Inaweza kuwa episodic, kumaanisha you do it, unafanya you get into it, alafu unapata time kwanza una rest kidogo and then you get into it tena. Yeah. Another one ni ukitry kuacha una feel very uncomfortable, ya unakuwa distressed, ama time una try ku cut down. For example, ulikuwa una bet ka 20 ukianza, alafu umeanza kubet ka 50, saizi una bet thou, umeanza kubet rent, and then ukitry kurudi kubet ka 20 una feel I hit the same. So ni kumaanisha una create tolerance kwa any addiction. Inamaanishanga you need more of whatever it is to feel the same effect. Yeah, so unaendelea to gamble more and more. Another one ni you lie about it. Mtu akikuuliza naona ukigamble hii hata ni first time, hii hata akili yangu ikuange huko, and you know deep down it's your thing. Hata usiku kilala tu hivi kwa blanketi tu tai na kumulika tu hivi kwa hivyo gambling. You lie about it. Another one is venye tumesema you get withdrawals when you try to cut down. And then another one is chasing losses. Like every time you lose, you're trying to get back what you lost. So you keep doing the same thing because the more you bet, the more you lose, because the system is made to benefit the house. It's not there to make you a millionaire. Yeah. So you keep chasing the losses, which now cause more losses. So in a creative cycle, these are the symptoms za gambling addiction. Alafu sometimes unafikiria gambler ni yule mtu ana gamble every day. Venye nimesema inaweza kuwa episodic. Yeah, kama unaweza sema gambling is not a problem if somebody can afford it. It's not about the money, it's about like that pattern. So even if you can afford it, na you're preoccupied with it, you keep thinking about it, na maybe tutumii rent yako, it's still a problem. Yeah. Suicide. Suicide, to explain it in simple terms, they like intentionally taking one's life. That's what I would say. Like, you know, you are going to die, and you do that thing that will make you die, intentionally knowing that you'll die. So that's what I would describe suicide as.
Now, where can it be rooting from? Like, is it some, like, where is it rooting from? What do you think can make someone consider that?
Suicide?
Yeah.
Most of the time, suicide stems from a form of mental disorder or mental distress. Even gambling. Sometimes gambling is associated with some mental disorders. Yeah? Because we said
this is
psychological standpoint. Yeah, sometimes unaweza kuta inaweza kuwa tu ni habit uliform, but sometimes unakuta kuna watu wako na conditions kama bipolar. So every time they have a manic episode ni ile time wako very hyper, happy. Yeah, the manic, they bet lots of money, they bet. Yeah, like, but akienda depression tena hizi vitu zina feel, anaanza sasa ku feel vibaya because of what they did while they were in mania, na ina trigger depression nini. Pia depression itself inaweza trigger betting because unajua tuseme na hii economy, yeah, you don't have rent na unasikia tu betika, unasikia sitaki kumention majina but ziko everywhere. So unasema hata ukigoogle phone yako, I'm sure huwezi scroll for too long bila kuona kitu, an ad na a promise of getting rich quickly. So unajiona maybe this is my hope. Yeah, so most of the times, not all the time, but most of the times, even gambling is attached to a mental issue. Yeah, a mental health issue. So connection yake ni suicide ni if you already had something underlying, and even if you're not, and unaingia hapa umebet kila kitu.
Now you're explaining the connection between gambling
and suicide. Okay. Yeah. So you bet everything, you've lost everything. The first thing you might feel is a lot of guilt and shame, because how do you even start explaining to people that you bet your school fees, you bet your rents? Yeah, that can come with a sense of hopelessness and helplessness, where you feel like, hey, there's no way out. So you decide to take yourself out. Yeah, because you just feel so helpless and hopeless. You don't see how you will ever get out of it. Yeah, I would say maybe that's.
Okay, and why do you think gambling is becoming very appealing and so dangerous to the eyes of humans?
Yeah, I guess that's a very easy question. we can all see. Yeah, first of all, it's the economic state of this country right now. Yeah, most people don't have jobs. Yeah, those who have jobs, they're saying, I hear the word kwa ground, that there's no money in circulation, so people are struggling, and I think people are trying to get it for financial reasons. Yeah, somebody is promising you that you can just get lots of money in 10 minutes. Why would anyone not bet? Yeah, so I think the financial state right now is encouraging people to bet. Another one I would say is the aggressive marketing. Yeah, because these betting sites or companies, I think they are putting a lot of resources in gambling. You can't listen to a radio without a mention of gambling. You can't. Right now, I can just go to Instagram, search any influencer, and if I scroll, I'm sure I'll find somewhere they're wearing a hat or a T-shirt with the betting sites. The ads are everywhere. Every time you're in a WhatsApp group, they keep getting removed, but they keep even hacking phones just to advertise for the betting. So I think the aggressive marketing is playing a part on it, and also the media. Yeah, the media. I would say, and I don't know, selling this idea of quick money, changing lives, and in it was a quick, getting rich quick.
Okay.
Yeah. So and we hear stories. They sponsor somebody, and somebody says, "Oh, I want this amount of money. I'm going to do this and this and this," and you're just there thinking, "Oh, that could be me." Yeah. So I think those are a few things that are making gambling become so prevalent in our country right now.
And this is something I've observed. I don't know if you've observed it too. Like gender-wise, men are betting more than
Women. Yeah.
And why do you think that might be the case?
Because it's also a factor when we consider risk factors for gambling. One of the risk factors is gender. Yeah, because more men gamble more than women. I would say that's very common in most addictions, not just gambling addiction, even for alcohol addiction, drug addiction, gambling addiction. You'll find that it affects more men than it does women. I don't know. What do you think? Why do you think men gamble more than women?
What came to my mind is most of it are like soccer, football, like sport pesa, it's like for football.
Yeah.
So I thought it's because men are into football more. But now that I'm thinking of casino, I'm thinking of the addiction you mentioned also. And now like I'm kinda confused. I don't know why that could be the reason. Could also be, do you think like men in the society have a lot of financial pressure, especially to support like for women I feel like I'm not sure about this, but I feel like for men kuna this more pressure.
Being financially
stable, to provide for their families and their siblings maybe. Could that be the reason also?
Yeah, that could be a reason. And also, like you said, most of this betting, they are connected to gaming. And I think this gaming are more, men associate more with them. But there's also that, I feel like men have more pressure to have more money. Even if not just provision, I think for starters. Yeah, you want to be known as the guy with a lot of money. Yeah, so I think that plays a part. Another risk factor is age. Because like in Kenya, when MOH released the press statement the other day, they said, is it 17% of people between age 18 to 65 are betting right now? That's 4.7 million. Yeah, that's a lot of people who are betting right now. So more young people are prone to dating more than older people. Yeah.
And what are the psychological effects now of gambling towards depression?
We might think that maybe if you bet and you don't drink, you might think, but my addiction is not as bad as drinking. But biologically, gambling affects the same part of the brain that drugs affects. Yeah, and it affects our reward system. meaning that's how addiction will be created. Because if you win, even if it's little money, you get so excited and you want to do it over and over and over again. And then when you lose, or when you try to stop, then you get these withdrawals, you become so distressed that it can lead to now symptoms of depression like hopelessness, helplessness, extreme sadness, being unable to do normal activities. Yeah. And like we said, gambling is continuing to carry on besides having these negative consequences. Yeah. Usharushwa nje mara moja cause ya rent, na next time tunapata rent unaendelea kubet tu bado. Yeah. Umekosa pesa ya food, unaendelea tu kubet, pia kuomba pesa. Ushaanza kuambia watu unaweza nitumia kaso, unaweza nitumia ka 50, sina food, unaweza nitumia hii, alafu nachukua pesa unabet ukihope that one day utawa surprise. So moja tu utapata like a big payday.
You pay them 10 times.
You pay them 10 times. Yeah, so imagine if you continue doing that and you keep losing and losing and losing and losing, what it will do to you mentally. Yeah, so this doesn't lead to issues like depression, because in affecting, if you start borrowing money to bet, unaharibu your relationship with your friends, with your family, so inakuwa isolate pia in a way.
And why do you think people hesitate to seek for help when it comes to gambling and suicidal thoughts?
I think the first one is stigma. Yeah, kusema ati mimi na struggle na addiction. Watu like na gambling, hata watu huongelea bado try kusugarcoat, like unajua admitting you've lost control over something takes a lot of guts. Yeah. And something very interesting about addiction is that wanasemanga the first sign of addiction, the first sign or symptom, it's denial of its existence. Yeah, so hata mtu mwenye ako in addiction ako in denial that ako in addiction, so hata ufikiria sintaacha siku nitataka, mi naweza acha anytime, mimi si addiction. Na jamaa anajua yeye alibeta digari, so unaanza kukompea na watu wako in even worse situation. So utaki hiyo stigma, utaki kuwa associated na addiction and like you have a problem. Another thing, I think it's accessibility of help, because saizi hata wewe nikikuuliza mtu ako na gambling addiction anapata msaada wapi?
And they don't know how to help them.
Exactly. Yeah, because hatujui where to get help. So the accessibility of help. Alafu pia the cost. Those people who know now wamepata help, hata usemekana ni therapy is not that cheap in Kenya. Yeah. So if mtu amegamble kila kitu, sasa tena umwambie therapy, anaanza kuona hapo haitaingiana. Alafu tena tu ile watu maybe wanaona this maybe haina help, haina this, like unajua like feel like you're lost in it, like you can't break this pattern. So unasema so I don't think I can be helped, let you giving up on yourself because you don't think there is help. Yeah.
And for suicidal thoughts now?
I would say for suicidal thoughts also ni the same thing, stigma. Because in Africa saizi mi huona like kwa hizi clips hata mtu akitry maybe kujirusha kwa building and then watu wampate, the first thing they do is kumcharaza vibaya sana. Yeah.
And kuna countries in Kenya now it's no longer a crime.
It's no longer a crime. Yes. So appreciative of that. Finally about time to decriminalize suicide. So ni shame, and then pia kuna kuanga na hiyo shame ya kusurvive. If you attempt and then you survive, you become that person who tried suicide. Yeah. So I think people don't seek help mainly because of that.
And have you ever struggled with any addiction?
Personally?
Yeah.
Maybe addiction to TikTok. But there's a reason because I grew up in a household where one of my parents was in addiction. So I think seeing that and what harm it can cause and how it can ruin people's lives made me become so intentional on not trying things that I know are potentially addictive. Because sometimes they say that addiction, one risk factor is genetics. So I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out if I have the gene or not. So I'm very intentional and conscious about anything addictive. Have you been addicted to anything?
Yeah.
What?
Funny enough, I feel like I've never been like intensely addicted to something, and it's for the same reason. Like the environment I came from, I saw what addiction can do to you. But I do relapse when we talk about things like screen time. Sometimes I do struggle with that, but I've been reframing it. Like still, I've started to get constructive stuff that I can occupy my time with on the screen. Yeah, so to a point, it's becoming a work. Now I'm struggling to be consistent with it,
Okay.
Yeah, so, but when it comes to addiction, I'm not a video game player. Like most of the things I don't know, like personally, I've found myself in a space whereby even my hobby, like I always think of scaling them, and like I'm so into art. So I'm not into football that much. I'm not into video game. I'm not into kuna those things that sometimes I normally feel like I'm out of place when I'm with my peers. But honestly, I'm not addicted to it because even movies I watch once in a week, and they are yeah. So at the moment, like I've never been, maybe I can't pinpoint it, but I've never struggled with addiction.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and I have a question. You said therapy is not pocket friendly to many Kenyans, and but deep down we know how important therapy is. When we think of health, some of the people normally wait until maybe our teeth were decayed. Now it has to be removed for it to be, But like we started paying attention there. Now people are brushing their teeth. We are avoiding that. When it comes to physical health, people are taking shower. Like given like people are working on that when it comes to physical health. But when it comes to mental health, people wanna slow down hapa. Could it be because therapists are not selling their values that much, or because the fact that when I have a stomach ache, there's a time I was having a stomach ache here, and I sent someone to the chemist, and when the chemist mentioned the price, imagine like I didn't think twice, like I just wanted the medicine. I feel better again. Like it didn't matter at all. But you feel like when it comes to therapy, people now are reconsidering when you mention the price. Why is it because the therapists are not selling their values that much, or why is that the case?
Personally, because I'm a therapist, I'm going to defend therapists. I think we are doing a lot of work, volunteering here and there. Always, mimi sijui juu niko kwa hizo spaces, but there is always a webinar on something almost every single day. But I think the issue is people have refused to prioritize their mental health. Now, but I think I can't put the blame on them here because I think it's not understanding even what therapy is. Because mtu wako like, nilipe hiyo pesa yote tu kuongeleshwa, like itanitolea hapo hivyo na solution, like mnashangaa tu naenda tu hapo hivyo nalipa hiyo pesa yote tu kuongeleshwa, na si mtu yote anaweza jiongelesha. What people have their own justification. Yeah, because sometimes wanajiambia labda hata ni pesa, but then I'm like, mtu wa kulewa akosangiza kukunywa.
Exactly.
So no matter how is mtu wa kuchoma akosangiza kuchoma, mtu wa kugamble sometimes akosiza kugamble. So ukiwa serious na kama you want therapy, I'm sure you'll find a way to pay for it. I think tu ni venye tu iko low kwa priority list, but I would like to urge people, like imagine, come, for example, if you did a degree in psychology like I didn't go there to know how to talk to people. It's deeper than that. Yeah, we have techniques, we have things that we do, alafu ni ku dig deep, cause vitu kaa gambling ama tulisema hizi vitu zote hazitokiangi tu out of thin air. Hizi zote ziko driven na something, na ni ku make sure tumejua like imetoka wapi, so that tusiendeleze hizi cycles, cause if you don't deal with it utafikiria ni normal, and then watoto wako pia unawaraise na same values, wanafikiria ni normal, and then we just continue having a very dysfunctional family, like dysfunctional families, dysfunctional society, and issues tunaongelea the same issues over and over and over and over again. Yeah, so I don't know, right now I'm sure anyone who wants a therapy can access one. No?
Could that be the reason? Because maybe kuna a lot of therapists who volunteer. To a point now we believe like it's supposed to be free.
Yeah.
If you're charging, I can get somewhere free.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think maybe we can go about that? Because mental health is really important as our physical health. And like as you've said, like it's not about like me just learning to talk to someone.
Yeah.
There is a lot of work where I spend my whole time in campus, all the money, all the knowledge I have, and you know the impact that like of someone being taken that process and how helpful it is. But people are not taking it seriously, which it should be. What do you think maybe we can start doing differently? Because personally, I feel like volunteering therapists is really killing the value of therapy. Yeah.
I'm so happy a person who's not a therapist said that, because I keep saying, if I know a doctor who keeps offering free medicine and free whatever medical services, I'll start shukuing. I'll be like, hey, is this guy, what's the deal? Yeah, so I feel like it's a good thing, because sometimes I think therapy inakuja like a service. You want to offer something to the community. So I feel like that's why people keep offering free stuff, so that you don't, we destigmatize it, so that people don't continue thinking it's just talking. Yeah, so we cover different topics. Yeah, do you find yourself with like just getting angry quickly, and then unasema sisi kwetu tunakuanga hivyo. Yeah, sisi tunakuanga tunaangaisha, mimi bora usiniongeleshe sijui nini, usinikajage pabaya, usiniguze pabaya, vitu kama hizo. Yeah, so that we know, ama why do you keep staying in that toxic relationship, na unajua utaki kutoka, but unakaa pembeni tujiende, una miss hata kama anakuignore. Yeah, like hizi vitu zote ziko na reasons behind it. Yeah, so I think hata wenye wana volunteer, like it's a good thing, cause watu wanaendelea kulearn. Yeah, and hopefully people will start seeing the value in therapy, and that it's worth the money you're paying. Actually, in Africa, I mean, in Kenya, it's like the cheapest service you can do. It's very different. Alafu pia, before we lose the next question, here, like most public hospitals, maybe sidhani hizo za kwetu hapo hivyo tu yoka dispensary, but hizi ka referral hospitals hizo, most of them ziko na counseling services. So taka uwezi afford, enda tu hosi utapata some kind of help. Kuna counselors huko, sidhani ni that expensive, hata sidhani napita punch ikienda sana. It's very cheap. Kuna zingine tu wana offer free therapy. Hata ukipata mtu alikuwa sawa, ameanza like how you guys say it on the street, ameanza kuchizi, ama mtu amevuta weed hapo imemwaribikia, msimwache tu ateseke huko nje. Tafadhali mpeleke tu hosi, kuna treatment by the way. Hata giza kutango hapo vanza kusema yeye ni Yesu sijui nini, peleke tu hosi, hiyo referral iko hapo hivyo county yenu, there's treatment. The same way kuna treatment ya gambling, but we'll get there. Yeah.
This is something funny. There was a movie I was watching. And then a guy was seeing a therapist.
And
he fell in love with the therapist.
Yeah.
And the guy, the issue he had, he was from a toxic relationship. And eventually he ended up like heartbreaking the therapist. So
Only date.
yeah, they started dating, and then the guy, and it really hurt the therapist.
Yeah.
And I'm shocked.
Like the Joker.
No, I don't remember the movie, but like that was the idea. That ilikuwa 999. I don't remember it, but that was the idea.
Yeah.
Like, what happened there? Like, can you take us through? Like, personally, I don't think it is possible. So,
okay. Okay, first of all, I'll say this. Before anybody's a therapist, they're human first. So like whatever happens to like everyone else happens to like therapist. Haina formula, ikitu ina formula. But kuongelea your story, I'll say this. Most of the time, kwa therapy, your clients, they might get attached to you. And there's a reason behind it, because when you share vulnerable things with somebody, utaform some form of attachment. Na sometimes watu who confuse your attachment na love, because maybe hata tujui love inafaa kufilaje. But what we're supposed to have ni a therapeutic relationship. Because actually, therapeutic relationship who determine kayo therapy itawaka ama haitawaka. Unaweza kuwa na the best therapist in the world, but kama hamna hiyo relationship, hiyo therapy haitawaka. Na unaweza kuwa na mtu mwenye maybe tu ni a newbie, but because you have such a good therapeutic relationship, therapy itawaka. Sindo? So kuna kwa na hiyo kitu ya people getting attached. Na kwa ethics as psychologists, we are not supposed to date our clients. Okay, so kwanza huyo ali-break rules. She broke the rules.
She fell in love.
Because like one of the things we're supposed to consider as therapists, we can't have a dual relationship with our clients. So ni kumaanisha apart from this therapeutic relationship, we cannot have any other relationship. You cannot be my sister. You cannot be my friend. Okay. We cannot date.
I'm not supposed to even cancel my cancel my mom.
No. Okay. Your family, no. Your friends, no. Siwezi kuja to before therapy naanza kwambia hey, but then uzanga sandals. You can't even have like a customer whatever relationship. If it's a therapeutic relationship, it's that therapeutic relationship.
And why is that the case?
Hizo ni guidelines tu za make sure we are taking care of the clients, and also counselors pia wanakuwa kept in check. Okay. Yeah, because unajua usipoeka hizo between guide, like usipokuwa na hizo guidelines, watu ita cause harm to the client. Because like I said, when you come to a session, you tell me everything about you. I don't share anything about me. So that already is very one-sided. The attachment is very, very one-sided. So it's up to me to make sure that I'm keeping you and you're feeling safe, not taking advantage of them. Yeah, because share vulnerabilities zako zote, insecurities zako zote, ujui any of mine, so it's easy for me to take advantage of you. Yeah.
Even like I kinda get your pattern, so I can
unaweza manipulate, unaweza fanya hizo vitu zote, so we have these things to make sure that kila mtu kwa dynamic ako protected.
You've mentioned attachment. Like after me being vulnerable to you as your client, I get attached. So what is the difference between attachment and connection in your own words?
Attachment and connection?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I would say, I think I'd have to think for a moment.
Okay.
Attachments. I don't know whether I have the language for it, but I would say, the thing is, I find it hard to describe what attachment is without using the word connection. Yeah, because I feel like
I just go for it.
Yeah, ni kama attachment ni a form of connection you have to somebody. But sasa the attachment inaweza kuwa positive ama negative. Inaweza kuwa tu kuna mtu unachukia, but una feel some type of way about them because you can't let them go, like maybe they are in your mind. Hata tukiongelea like attachment styles. Tunasema unaweza kuwa securely attached ama insecurely attached. Yeah. Maybe attachment yako to that person iko based na anxiety na woga na nini, but you still attached. For example, kama tusemeaje, watu na mapasta zao huku nje. Kuna mtu like huku nje pasta fulani wana slap congregation yao, na uwezi ongelea vibaya maybe huyo pastor, huyo mtu akiwa hapo hivyo, si ndio? But I feel like connection is deeper. Yeah, I feel like I don't know because you can still be connected to somebody in a negative way. You people tutauliza Google baadaye.
But from what I'm getting,
yeah,
like attachment in a car, something one-sided.
It's not always, because you can be attached to each other in a, tunaweza kuwa attached to each other like in,
I feel like tukiwa attached
inakuwa connection. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, because like unaona with attachment unaona kuna aspect of controlling. Like kuna aspect you can be the one who is being controlled, ama kuna hiyo aspect of controlling. But for connection kuna aspect of free will na for it to reach that point, like, inamaanisha you see mutual. It's mutual, you see one another on the same level.
Because I also think you can be very attached to this house. Maybe hata kuna vacant hapa hivi, but uko like maybe hata ni better, but uko like, hey, me I'm just attached to my own place, but I don't think you have a connection with the house.
Exactly.
But you might also feel connected to it.
Yeah. You might feel, but you're not. So like connection is in a serve. I feel like connection serves. Nikisema we are connected, ama what we do, nikisema my podcast and my art are connected. Inamaanisha the art is serving the podcast. Nikisema we are connected, at some point you are serving me and I am serving you. But attached to you, you might have no idea.
True.
Yeah, that's me, true. I know like why. Maybe I am attached to you because of this one particular thing. True. But you don't have that one thing that you are attached to.
Yeah. I feel like connection has a anatonia, bringing people together, like
connection,
like maybe one or more people have been brought together in a way. But attachment, for example, nasema ka the net ina connect watu, but I don't think ina attach watu.
Yeah, that is a good example. Yeah.
Okay.
You are a genius. I have another question. For therapy, is it supposed to be like, okay, is it supposed to be, it is progressive, right?
Yeah.
So can it be a lifetime thing? Do you think
can it be a lifetime thing?
Kuna that aspect that okay, hit this, now you are good for therapy, now you can go get back to your life?
Okay. I think so. I think unaweza therapy, I think kila therapist akona view yake different. But my view is therapy haifai kuwa like forever ati tunakuwa na session every week. The way we do it, and I think majority of the therapists do, ni ukikuja for therapy we set goals, like like what made you seek therapy. So we are going to set goals, and then tutakuja na treatment plan. Na hii treatment plan, we are coming with it together, you and I. Say you are my client. It should determine the number of sessions. Now mimi najua like using maybe the techniques or whatever, how long it's going to take. So after that tunaangalia like, hey, have we accomplished the goals? If we accomplish the goals, then we can cut down on the sessions. We just start doing like follow-ups and check-ins. So, but if you feel good on that part, does not mean that now it's bye to therapy. The people even who do like graduation for therapy, hey, so we graduate, but that means that specific hizo goals ulikuwa nazo your time tumezimit. So inamaanisha ukiwa na something else you want to deal with, unafaa kurudi therapy. For example, maybe umekuja you had issues, haujui kuhandle stress, haujui kuhandle anger, ama tunataka kuishi a better life. Do therapy si must end ukiwa na shida. Unaweza kuwa unataka kucope better, unataka maybe your life is good but you want to be prepared. Ndio kitu ikiharibika si hapo hivyo ndo unaanza mazoezi. But sasa kitu inaweza happen in life later, unaweza lose your job na you don't know how to cope. You can lose somebody in your family, unaweza jikuta tu uko depressed. So for that one issue, I don't feel like unafaa kwa in therapy forever, but ina depend na what will come up. Ni kama tu kwenda hosi, like hautaenda, haimaanishi tukienda hosi once hautawahi rudi tena.
Like you may break down. Like I used to argue a lot because like this is how I used to argue, but I've really gotten your point and you answered my question. This is how I used to argue. I like when I saw people just going for therapy, and when they're done and that's it, I felt like, man, like it's not about just the childhood trauma. We get traumatized on a daily basis. Even our today's interaction can give me a trauma. Like so, it is something that like life, it's that way. But when I look at it from here, and when I compare it with physical health, today I'm having a headache. Nikienda hospitali, it will just be the headache. I manage I won't go back, but nikienda, it's a good thing to malizane na headache. Nikienda next week kwa stomach ache and hivyo. So it applies. So today it can be about relationship, tomorrow it can be about work, tomorrow it can be ikifika point like na feel as a cope with everything. Hadi kwa work, it is stressful but I can cope with it. Then I'm good with the work. Nikifeel intensity maybe, ama nikifeel threatened na intensity, ama kukwetu na obliqueness, like hakuna clarity on something, I can seek for therapy. True. Alafu pia sometimes points ingine ya therapy ni kuempower. That's why therapy inakuwa like once a week and not daily, so that you are empowered to make your own decisions and feel confident in making your own decisions. Ndio mimi nasema si forever, ndio usikue dependent, ndio usianze kuniuliza, hey, leo nataka kuvaa orange, do you think that's a good color for me? Oh, today I have this issue, how should I handle it? Like point ni ku make sure that wewe mwenyewe uko self sufficient. Okay. And going back now to the gamblers and people who are having suicidal thoughts, maybe from gambling or from all areas of life, what advice will you give them maybe?
For somebody who's going through a gambling addiction, na tumesema ni wewe mwenye una gamble, hata kama si kila siku uko na hizo episodes ama periods and you just get into it
and they feel trapped.
And you feel trapped. Ukitry kuacha una feel unashindwa, ama you keep trying kuacha, unaacha kidogo unajikuta umerudi, unaacha kidogo unajikuta umerudi. So one thing, juzi venye nimesema Ministry of Health wakitoa your press, kitu moja ni addiction haikuwa covered kwa SHA. Like treatment ya addiction. But sasa juu ya the crisis in the country, wame include kwa SHA. So kama uko na insurance, unaweza enda for treatment kwa hizi, kuna nini zimekuwa accredited, rehabs zimekuwa accredited, zenye you can go there for help and you're going to be helped and it's going to be paid for by insurance. So says iko covered na SHA. And then I'm sure tukisikia rehab, I don't know what people think. Ukisikia rehab, what comes to mind?
These drug addicts.
What kind of drug addicts?
I'm thinking of bang, cigarette, alcohol.
Na ukipicture mtu wako kwa rehab anakaje?
They were about to die. They were about to die with they've lost their job. Like worst conditions ever. Worst consequences. Washa face the worst consequences.
I used to think that until I worked in rehabs. Like rehabs imejaa like tukienda huko na mimi nikae huko tuna fit in vizuri sana. Like there's no big difference because ni mtu tu kama any of us anaweza kuwa victims wote tunaweza jipata however, because life sometimes inaweza kuhand something and you just feel incapable of handling. So tukisikia rehab tuache kuogopa. It's just a treatment center for mental health issue. Actually zinaitwa treatment centers. Na venye tu kitambo zilikuanga na hii dark things, sijui watu wanadungwa mashindano, of which watu wanafikirianga ni hivyo hadi wa leo, sijui watu wanadungwa mashindano, kumejaa watu watakuvuta nywele watapigana, No. It's just a treatment facility. Most of them hata zinakuwa na setting ya home. Like mko na couches, mko na TV, mko na pool tables, mko na games, and then kuna sessions during the day. Sometimes ni psychoeducation, sometimes ni one-on-one. Like tu ni ka place unaenda ku receive treatment bila triggers. Like bila wanakutoa kwa triggers zako. Na unajua kwa you don't have to worry about money, rent, nini. So point ya residential ni kukutoa kwa environment that's making you sick. Yeah, kukuleta kwa a safe space yenye utaweza kuconcentrate bila kuona betika. Wewe betika msinisu. Bila kuona sports pesa, sijua vieta nini. So tukisikia rehab tusifikiria ni this. Yeah.
That question, vile umesema rehab imechange perspective. Ilikuwa Madhari. Nilikuwa nikisikia Madhari za rehabilitation center.
Yeah, it's a rehab. Iko na part ya rehab na iko na part ya.
So what used to come to my mind ilikuwa uenda wazimu.
Yeah. Even though most of us think.
Yeah.
But sisi wote I'm sure tumekuwa na beshte yako very depressed.
We've been in situations
hata sisi tumekuwa in a situation where tumekuwa depressed. Yeah, ni venye tu kuenda for treatment. Yeah. But some people do go for treatment. Na it doesn't mean that ni wale, I don't know what people picture, but whatever you're picturing, that's not what happens there most of the time. Ati iki happen ni like alafu hizi vitu zote ni treatable. Like most of them are treatable. Hata mtu akikuja ako hyper nini, all of them are very treatable. And apart from this condition now, the gambling addiction being covered by SHA, also it's good if you find yourself in this situation, it's good to recognize what your triggers are emotionally first of all. Like ni nini ndani yako inakutrigger ugamble? Do you gamble when you're lonely? Do you gamble when you're sad? Unaanza kusema oh my god, hii life lazima nitoboe, then unaanza kugamble. Yeah, hizo internal every time. Angalia like na gamble nikiwa peke yangu when I'm feeling lonely, na gamble time I feel rejected, maybe mtu amekataa huko, like wacha niomoke ndio watanijua. Yeah, hizo the cues. Alafu pia ni after try to identify why, like hizo intrinsic motivations zako za kugamble, na unaangalia the external triggers. Yeah, like do you gamble time uko tu in a specific group? Maybe ukienda home ushago tu kumbukangi kuna vieta ama kitu kaya watu kirudi hivi tu Nairobi ukihang out na some people, ama maybe umeenda watch ball unajikuta sasa hizo ndo una gamble properly. Yeah, pia kuna hii stuff ya self exclusion. We mwenyewe tu unajitoa kwa kuna hizi online gambling sites, unatoka huko unajitoa we mwenyewe. Hizi ads za nini unazidisable. Kuna place unaendanga una choose ads zenye unafaa kuchagua. Sidhani unaweza choose usiletewe ad, but kuna zenye unaweza restrict.
I did know that.
Yeah. Okay. Hata uone sometimes wanakushow survey, was this ad helpful, whatever.
I saw that on YouTube.
Yeah, sometimes hata wanaweza kudisable. Haimaanishi utaleta tu ads different. Maybe not that specific one. Ingine ni kawa ama birthday, unaweza ambia bebe mimi nataka kucut out on gambling, so maybe
tunaweza avoid
hizo conversations.
Shida pesa usituambie.
Yeah, like mtani trigger. Cause by the way, responsibility kubwa ni yako. Pia let's seek professional help. Tusiogope therapy. Hiyo bidii ulikuwa unapata na pesa za kugamble, tafadhali akati hiyo bidii ulipia therapy. Cause you actually ni more helpful to you. Yeah. So anybody who's listening now wanna struggle, like the situation is not hopeless. There's help. And right now, cause like it's a crisis in this country, people are taking measures to make sure that this help available. So is it I think ukijikuta kwa hiyo kuna namba unaweza call, I think ni 719 unaweza call, please verify. I think ni 719 in Kenya. You can call na upate help. So hizo. So
it's suicidal thoughts ama this.
Yeah.
All okay.
Yeah.
Prevention.
Hiyo specifically ilikuwa ya gambling. But unajua gambling ni issue cause zinakuja na all these other things zina lead to suicide, depression. Yeah. theft, hizo vitu zote, yeah.
And do you think there is a role, or what role do you think public education, policies, and social media can play towards this risk?
I think first kwa education, tuki break down hivyo, education maybe ni kueducate watu na what gambling is and what it can do, and hiyo potential ya kuwa addictive, yeah. Kwanza tu mapema ile tu kuambia watu by the way, mnaambia hapa hivi shinda mamili, lakini before shinda hizo mamili unaweza kuwa umesacrifice life yako, career yako, your family, and still not end up getting those mamili, yeah. And then kwa policy, I think unafaa kuwa na stricter policies kwa hizi companies za gambling, on how they market, on how wata regulate age ya watu wana market ya hizi gamblings, na pia wanaweza consider kuweka limit, yeah. Unaona venye wanasemanga kwa pombe sijuke inakuanga nayo yeah.
18 years.
Yeah, hata pia like the amount, like I know people can exceed ama whatever, but wanaweza weka maybe policies zenye ukibet amount hauwezi bet anymore, ndio msiendelee kubet hadi shamba, hadi school fees, hadi hizi vitu zote. So country, jumi sijui stories za kuban, because kusema kweli most people are benefiting. I guess the government itself is benefiting from, because they're paying a lot of tax na hizi vitu zote. But I think ni vizuri sometimes kufikiria which one is more important. Is it like the profits of people's lives? Because I feel kama tunafika point yenye sasa tunaweka profits before the actual lives of people, because hizi ina lead to suicide. Tumesikia hizi cases, tumeziona, yeah. So kukuwe na strict policies. Alafu saizi hata sijui kama hizi gambling sites zote ziko regulated data, because there are way too many. Every day ukifungua kuna a new one, yeah. There's so many. So kukuwe na better policies. And then part ya media, ni vizuri tuambia watu watashinda mamili, but it's even vizuria tukiwaambia like dangers za betting, yeah. Because ni kama two time crisis may happen, utasikia wakisema sema like betting every single day. I don't think kuna show huwa ina happen bila wao ku promise watu wafanye kitu, watawin some amount of money.
Most of it,
most programs, yeah. Kuna kwa
call this number, even call this number, even this happen, even radio stations, like they'll ask a question, atini nini nalia, that is gambling also.
Since watu wana bet watu wengi, alafu ni mtu mmoja tu atawin. So me shows mingi zina promote some form of gambling. So wakitry ku get their bag, wenye tumesema lives before profits, please. Pia let's to highlight dangers of gambling, na si ile tu ku mention gambling is harmful. Let's share these stories and the concerns and issues and repercussions of betting and getting into betting, and that the illusion of getting rich quick is just that. Yeah.
Do you think, I do believe if there are countries they even control the social media consumption, I believe like we can come up with policies that can strip away gambling, because
that will be the ideal situation. But now realistically speaking, hadi juzi MH wakiachilia hiyo press statements, bado unasikianga tu wanasema regulate, cause banning tricky, because like I said, there are a lot of people who are benefiting from it. So banning is ideal, but we don't live in an ideal world, sadly. So that's why you mwenye anasikiza hii ama sisi as an individual, we have to take the initiative to protect yourself, to care for yourself, na kama umeteleza ni wewe ujisimamishe uinue, because hizi vitu they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So tukumbuke the responsibilities on us. Actually watu wengi wana target your weakness yako like impulsivity. Wakijua tu, wanajua kuna watu wanakuwa na impulse control issues, nyinyi ndio target market. So sadly. Yeah.
And what is your, back to you in the studio?
Yeah.
What is your greatest current goal at the moment?
My current goal, to get rich.
Get rich. How are you getting rich now?
Yeah. Okay, my current goal is to, my biggest goal is to be learned. I want to be so learned. I want to do my master's, do my PhD, do even whatever is ahead there. Like I said, I want to be a professor or something. I have to be very educated, not because of like money and jobs and whatever. Just if they can back you copy a doctorate, like that's an accomplishment by itself. But I also want to kwe society enye tuna deal na our health holistically, because me personally na feel ni kama, especially as Kenyan youths, nasema Kenyan because sijakuwa Uganda or anywhere, but I'm just saying my main issues ni like we don't know how to cope with our problems. The only way we cope is either repress ni kumaanisha you just fold it into a tiny ball and just share it somewhere in your unconscious mind so that you don't think about it, or maybe drink it. Yeah, try to drink our problems away, or get into a relationship just to make ourselves feel better. Ni kama hatuna way ya ku regulate our emotions, ways za ku just deal with our problems. Yani imefika point yenye mtu akikuwa hit with anything in life, hatuna hiyo ability ya ku bounce back, you know, that resilience. Yeah, hadi suicide zimekuwa, hata kama si the cases, the ideations, like the people who think ikitoka happen, I'm done with, so no, because your resilience. So I'm hoping to do things out here, create more awareness on mental health, just to empower and encourage Kenyan youth to take care of ourselves mentally, not to take this hiyo seriousness venye umeona, like watu huenda gym kabisa venye wanakuanga na hiyo, you can't tell them anything. Nataka to feel that about therapy, bila kufeel ni kama ni amachizi, bila kufeel ni kama ni so clinical, because it's not that clinical. Sometimes it's so chill, we just pick a story, we can laugh, there's no judgments. Yeah, it's just good vibes.
Okay, thank you again. Faith. Yeah, here in the podcast we do have a culture where when a guest comes, he leaves or she leaves a question for the
audience,
for the next guest.
Oh, for the next guest.
For the next guest. And our last guest was a musician. His name was Kanye.
Yeah.
And Kanye left this question for you.
Yeah. What's in? So Kanye asked, who is your true self and how did you realize it? Who is my true self? Like, is there a single answer to that? Because I feel like it's so complicated, because I don't think there's one human being who's like one-dimensional. There's me at work, there's me at home, there's me with my friends, there's me with my mother, there's me with my father.
Okay, where do you feel more
all authentic? Of those, the true me.
Yeah, where do you feel like so authentic?
Where I feel
you with yourself, with your brother, with my your true mother. Self.
I do all of them, just like in different ways. But I would say, the reason I'm finding that hard to answer is because in psychology, this thing we call our real self and our ideal self. Yeah, the real self is the person I am right now, with all my shortcomings and with all my screen time addiction. But My ideal self, it's somebody different. My ideal self is that Nyambu who is very learned, Nyambu who has her shit together, Nyambu who has her finances right, her spirituality right. Vitu kaa hizo, si ndio? So I feel like my real self is not my ideal self yet. I'm working towards getting to my ideal self. So I don't know whether I have figured out who my true self is yet. Maybe I'll figure that out when I have lots of money, and then my true character will come out. So tukanyi wacha tupate pesa vizuri, and then tutaanza your question. Maybe like imejipika too bad.
Okay, it's all good. That is an answer too.
It's an answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that the concept of ideal self and true self. Yeah, that one is heavy. You once introduced us to it back then, and I had forgotten it. But we may refresh. I think I'm gonna make notes today.
Yeah. Me, I have like notes in my diary, like my real self, where I am currently and where I want to.
How regular do you do that?
Yeah.
How regular do you do that?
Once in a while. Because nothing changes like in a period of time. Like my real self is still my true self right now, but my ideal self is. But I'm just naandika hapo hivyo because I feel like human beings. There's a quote I read somewhere that, not a quote, just whatever it was, that human beings were wired for survival. We have to condition our brains and our hearts to feel joy and contentment, because you'll keep wanting more. You always keep wanting more, because the more you have, the more you feel like your chances of survival are. Yeah. Mboyo unafeel ukipata do mob, the more utapata bade more, my friends more, nini, familia watakurespect and all of that. So naandikanga ndio nikiziachieve nikumbuke, by the way, now you can rest, girl. Please rest. Yeah.
Last time we checked, you were struggling with trying not to skip meals.
Oh yeah.
And adding weight. How did it go?
Hey. Okay. I would say it's almost better, but mostly because I'm living with family. In a family, you have to cook, you have to eat with other people. So I don't know. Can me add weight?
You have.
Yeah.
You have.
I hope so. I hope
so.
Okay, mission accomplished. Merci.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So
ulikuwa struggle the vitu tulikuwa tumeongelea.
Yeah.
Ulikuwa umesema you want to monetize your podcast.
Monetize my podcast. And also physical.
How is that going?
Yeah, like it's I'm feeling good.
About flexibility.
It wasn't about the muscles. You forgot.
What was it about?
It was about the flexibility.
Oh, flexibility, strong. I remember. So are you flexible right now?
Yeah, I feel like I am.
Or does it like what do flexible people do?
Like neza fika hapo bila kutoka hapa.
That's nice. Yeah.
So if you could speak directly to a listener who is struggling with gambling and addiction, what would you want them to hear?
Just like I said, all hope is not lost. Now, if you feel like your value imeshuka just because you're struggling with something, just remember you're a full human being who deserves everything good in life, and there is help, there is treatment. Na treatment ya watu wengine, hii help ni yako wewe mwenye una struggle. Yeah? Na if bado unajiambia naweza acha time nataka, try kuacha for like a month hivi, alafu tuone kama ni for real kama unaweza acha ukitaka. So taka saa hizi, alafu ukijikuta unaweza acha for real, now you can do your thing. But if not, hizi vitu zinakuwa destructive. Na unajua hata sitaki kuongea sana because I know we know. Because like we said, gambling it's not about knowing. Hata wewe mwenyewe unajua niko na chances za ku lose. Issue ni hiyo, unajua nita lose but you just keep doing it over and over and over. The thing is, if you don't break the cycle, nobody's going to. If you don't leave that dance floor with you and Aviator is not going to leave the dance floor. So you have to get your life together. There's help for you. You're not helpless, you're not hopeless. There is a lot of help and there is support. So let's take advantage of that support right now. and all the best.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your never-ending support. You are part of the reason we keep on doing what we do. Goodbye.
Bye.
That was great.
Yeah.